Hi, and good evening, everyone. I like to start my talk with sharing with you a story. So I woke up this morning, I drank my coffee, and I went to work. And I knew I have to write extremely important code, the kind of code that will get to all of our most important clients immediately, and the kind of code that can really, really affect my entire career and affect my entire future. So I let Claude Code do all the work. I trusted it blindfolded. I didn't even test it locally to see if it works, and immediately deployed to production. Makes total sense, right? Sounds legit. It doesn't, right? So let's try this one more time. No. I was just kidding. I did try it out locally. I just tested only one case, only the happy flow. And that was it. I thought that's enough. I didn't try any edge case. That's always enough, right? Now it sounds right. Now it sounds reasonable. Still doesn't. So why? Oh, why? When it comes to public speaking, which is one of the most common human fears, most people just wing it without even testing themselves first. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you a secret. It's not because people don't care or because they don't think it's important. They do. And sometimes they get really anxious. But the problem is that in the world of public speaking, we don't have a standardized preparation workflow the same way as we do for the quality assurance process of building software. So, hi, and let me properly introduce myself now. So, I'm Moran Weber. I'm the founder of Women on Stage and two new tech products that are about to go live soon and are currently in a private beta. I'm going to share with you a little bit more about them soon. But these tools are aimed to support speakers throughout their entire speaker journey. And I've been a speaker and events organizer and a speakers trainer for the past 7 years. And before that, I was a software engineer for almost a decade. And in addition, I'm also a social psychologist. But it was the engineer in me that realized what is that missing workflow. And I'm going to share with you this workflow, the magic workflow today. And this is the workflow that I practice myself, and this is the workflow that I teach in my classes. And I promise you that if you go through these steps, and you will be able to produce much better content and feel much more confident about what you're going to say. So, what are we going to cover here today? At first, I'm going to cover break some false assumptions, break some myths about public speaking. Next, I'm going to share with you my winning workflow and the one that I saw it helping many people transform their talks completely. And lastly, I'm going to cover where AI can help you in this process and where you absolutely shouldn't use it. It can actually destroy your presentation. So let us start with breaking some myths. Number one, yay, AI will do it for me. AI will save me. Well, no. So AI can help, but this is one of those places where it shouldn't be AI first, because AI can't replace your taste, your judgment, your story, or your original voice. Number two, great speakers are naturally born. They're naturally born with charisma. They're naturally talented. So from my experience, quality is Quality is a function of how much you prepare and how much you validated your content, meaning anyone can be good at it. Number 3, public speaking is only for confident, super extrovert people. This is also not true, because confidence is a derivative of preparation. And this is where I want to share with you that I wasn't born a speaker at all. You know, I told you that I was a software engineer for almost a decade. And back then, and during most of those years, not only I couldn't imagine myself going up on stage, I could barely open my mouth in mundane daily meetings at work because I was too afraid someone will catch me as a fraud. I remember myself being all red when it's my turn to speak, and that's how my career looked back then. And if you don't believe me, this is one of the first times that I spoke in public, and this is one of the first times that I went up on stage, and I was so anxious and so afraid of the audience that I couldn't even look at the audience at the eye. So imagine 50 minutes me like that. Yeah, it's, if someone wants to watch 50 minutes of my back speaking, you can still watch it on YouTube, unfortunately. And now I want to share with you my emotional journey and the way that I see public speaking emotionally for other people as well. And this is really, it doesn't matter how many times I've done it before. It doesn't matter how experienced I am. It still happens every time. I swear to you, it happened this morning. So it always starts with, oh, yeah, I have some cute idea, and I see there's a CFP, which is a call for papers or call for proposal for a cool conference. And I'm like, yay, I want to submit and I want to apply. And then I get accepted and I'm happy for 1 minute. And then I'm like, oh, no, no, this means I actually have to go through with it. No, I wasn't thinking it through. Oh no, what have I done? I'm such a good person. I don't this why this is happening to me? And then I get to that pit of despair when I'm so like I just do like that, and I'm like, what do I do now? And then I tell myself, okay, I've done it before. So I start to climb my way back up. And I think, okay, I hate it, but I'll do it anyway. And my stomach is all over the place. But then, after 3 minutes, when I'm already up on stage, everything changes. And by the time that I finish, I feel like I'm like Frank Sinatra and I can sing, I did it my way. And this happens every time. So you shouldn't expect that it will be easy just from the start, and it will always be easy. It will never be easy. It will always be hard. But that point, it's worth it all. And I want to focus here today on that stage and how you can actually deal with it, and how you can actually climb your way back up, and help you with that. So now I want to share with you my magic workflow for presentation preparation. So once again, it's the one that I do myself. It's the one that I teach, and I've seen it help so many others to produce really outstanding talks. So let us start with this workflow. Let's say you already have an idea. I'm not going to cover how to get ideas. Let's say you already have an idea and you know what you're going to talk about. What's the first thing that you do? Most people, so the first thing that you want to do is write your outline. One of the most common mistakes people have is that the first thing that they do when they need to create a presentation is create the presentation or the slides. But a presentation does not equal slides. So the first thing that you want to do is you open a blank text document, and then you start building your narrative. You start building your story, text only. And then you decide how you want what journey you want your audience to take. And you do it in a way that A leads to B, B leads to C, C leads to D, and then it creates a narrative and a flow. Next thing is transform your outline into slides. And I want to talk about bullet points because one of the most annoying things with bullet points and one of the most horrible thing with bullet points is that it doesn't matter how many times we say it, and it doesn't matter how many times people say that bullet points are boring, and then you get it by now, okay? The problem with bullet points is that you can't read them and listen to me simultaneously. And the reason for that is that our brain, it takes so much longer for our brain to process and to read text versus seeing visuals, icons, images. You know how they say a picture is worth 1,000 words? So a picture is processed 1,000 times faster in our brains than words. Let's see a little example of that. Let's say I want to say that we ran some tests and most of them passed, all but one, and eventually the build failed. So I could do this, and alternatively, I could place it within a terminal and I could color the sentences, and then it would be a little easier for you to read. But I could do so much better. And if I just include text, if I just include icons or visuals, you don't need to read anything. You just understand it immediately. So what you want to do is you take your outline, that text, and then you split it into small paragraphs, sentences, and then for each segment, you search for a relevant keyword, or you create a relevant prompt with a relevant visual to support that message. And the key, and you try to have as less text as possible and as many visuals as possible. One rule to remember here is that you must have only one message per slide. And I want to be straight here that there's no limit on the number of slides. It's okay to have a 5 or 10 minutes presentation with 200 slides. No, I'm not saying that you have to have those, but no one will know, okay? It's as long as you have only one message per slide. It's not the same thing. You don't need to send your presentation at the end of your talk. If you do, you can create another one with the text. But when you present, try to have as less text as possible with only one message per slide. Going next, the local debugging step. And this is something that most people get wrong. Most people, when they get prepared, they know they open their laptop a day before their presentation, and they look at it and they read in their head the speaker notes, and yeah, I'm ready. But that doesn't count as preparation. What you want to do is you have to run it locally, and this is the only way that you can debug yourself. This is the only way that you can find bugs. And when you do that, you run it out loud with yourself. It may feel weird, but that's the only way to discover those bugs. And this will be the first bug fix iteration. And once again, it has to be out loud, because run it in your head is just like asserting true to be true. It doesn't really test anything. And this is where you would want to measure how much time it actually takes, because we're always out of time. And note that there's a negative correlation between the amount of preparation time and how much effort you bring into and the presentation length. Meaning, the shorter the presentation, the longer it takes to prepare it. Going next, the dry run or the staging environment. A dry run is where you run your presentation in front of other people. And just like you can't do a code review for yourself, you can't test your communication skills without actually communicating with others. And I want to be clear here that it doesn't even matter how experienced you are, because even the most experienced speakers still need this process, exactly like the greatest comedians of all, like Jerry Seinfeld, still test their materials. Otherwise, how would you know if it's funny or not? How would you know if it makes sense or not? How would you know if it's interesting? How would you know if they get it? You have to have someone on the other side to test it for you. And really, it's so important. And I swear to you that no matter how many times I've done it before, 100% of the times that I do it myself, I always fix something later. I always find something new. I always discover something that wasn't quite good as I thought. And even for others that I saw, the before versus after is mind-blowing. You would not believe how important this stage is. Now let us talk about the logistics. How does it work? With whom? Okay, so I know many people, they do it with their spouse, with their parents, but that doesn't really count because you have to do it with someone that actually represents your target audience and understands what you're talking about. How many people? Of course, a small group of people would be better because there's a huge variance between people's opinions, and many things can differ. But even if you find only one person to do it with you, that's also very, very, very important. That's also that can also be enough. And how does this session should look like? Okay, so it's one person doing the speaking, one person is talking and presenting, and the other one is taking notes, and afterwards we discuss them together. And this is probably the stage where you will find many bugs, and there will be a lot of comments, and there will be a lot of things that might bring you down. And I want to say that don't be discouraged here. Because number one, you want to find these bugs now versus later in production. And number two, people can say a lot of things. And at the end of the day, it is still your presentation and it is still yours. And you get to decide what you want to take and what you want to change. And what things do you want to keep out? Okay, so now it's the stage where I feel comfortable about my content. I already validated it. And now it's time for doing the rehearsing. Once again, when I rehearse, I do it out loud, not in my head, and more than once. Many people ask, and many people are anxious that they will have a blackout when they're up on stage. So do you remember this graph? And do you remember that those 3 minutes after I'm up on stage? Those 3 minutes, it's a known phenomenon, and it has a name. It's the awful first 2 or 3 minutes. And this is where most people are the most anxious. And after 2 or 3 minutes, we kind of get used to it and things get easier. So my tip here is always memorize the first 2 or 3 minutes. and know them by heart, because afterwards it will be the chances of you getting a blackout will be much smaller. But don't try to memorize the entire thing, because if you try to memorize too much, it can be the other way around. All right, I'm ready. I'm up on stage and I'm in production now. Now let us talk about AI, where AI can help us and where you absolutely don't want to use it. AI is really great for finding ideas. AI is really great with helping you and brainstorming with you and developing your ideas. But in terms of writing the outline, this is where I say, don't use AI. This is your job to build a narrative. This is your job to tell the story. It's your job to create the journey you want your audience to take. AI can't write your story for you. It has to be yours. Because if you use too much AI in this is how people will react. we see right through it, and it feels fake, and they will just roll their eyes out. What about creating the slides? Okay, so at this stage, for creating the slides, you can use AI, but please do it with care. So there are many Gen AI tools for creating presentations. The most familiar one is Gamma app. And if you take your outline and you just use it as a prompt, those tools will create pretty slides, but those slides won't fit the one message per slide rule, because they will create a lot of pretty bullet points with a lot of text and just place them nicely within each slide. So what you want to do is you want to split the outline yourself and then ask AI to generate the images for you. You can even ask AI to help you write the prompts to generate those images. But you have to do that splitting yourself. Don't try to squeeze it all in one slide. Where else AI can help? What about the next steps? So remember, I told you I have 2 new products coming up. So the first one is Onstage AI. Onstage AI is a staging environment for your content and delivery before you actually go to production or the stage. It's a video-based video platform where you can record yourself, get both AI and human feedback, and iterate before you actually go up on stage. And the second product was born out of the notion that you can have a fantastic idea and you can have a fantastic presentation, but if you don't have the stage to showcase your work, it just stays there. So Get On Stage is the all-in-one speaker management platform for tech teams, where you can discover conferences, manage your talks, and track your submissions, and grow your visibility all in one place. And this happened because we realized public speaking is a system, and the stage deserves better tools and a better infrastructure, both for the preparation step and for opportunity tracking. And you are very lucky because you have a chance here to enroll to a private beta, obviously for free, and be one of the early adopters that can be a part of it. And I really urge you to scan this QR code and join our beta. Yay! Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so let me recap. You always start with writing the outline, only text. Then you convert it into slides without a lot of text and as less bullet points as you can. Then you run it locally to debug yourself. This will be the first bug fix iteration. Next, you do a dry run with others. That's like your staging environment. And you can use AI only once you created your story yourself. And the narrative, it always has to be yours. And if there's one thing that I want you to take away from my talk here today, is that great tech talks and great speakers are not naturally born, they're engineered. Thank you. Thank you so much.